Saturday night. That's okay. If you want to, you can turn with me to Psalms 18th chapter. Starting in verse 4. It says, the sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. In my distress I called upon the Lord and cried unto my God. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him, even into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations, also the hills, moved and were shaken because he was wroth. I want to talk to you just for a few minutes tonight about hear my cry. I started looking up. I had some notes on this for several weeks. And when I started trying to narrow things down, Psalms is full of hear my cry.
Right.
I mean, every time I try to, I was going to mess around and have many scriptures Brother Charles normally did, so I had to kind of narrow it down a little bit. The 77th chapter of Psalms says, I cried unto God with my voice, and he gave ear unto me.
Right.
Or he heard me. 3rd chapter of Psalms, start with the first verse. And I know I went kind of backwards with all this. It says, Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which may say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. But thou, Lord, art a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of mine head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill.
Right.
I laid me down and slept. Have you ever laid down and couldn't sleep? He said, I cried to the Lord with my voice, and he heard me. I laid me down and slept. I awakened, for the Lord sustained me.
Right.
I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. And I started to retitle. I'm going to pick on Sister Dana just for a minute. Because I titled it, Hear My Cry. We were singing a song up here one night a few weeks ago on Sunday night before church. And we sang it this past Sunday night actually. Have a little talk with Jesus. And we started saying, have a little talk with Jesus. Let us tell him all about our troubles. And the next line come up, and I got tickled as if something's funny, I laugh. And I picked on her about it, and didn't know that God was going to use that for a sermon. But she said, he will hear our famous cry. And I got tickled, and we got stopped. I told Sister Dana, I said, he'll hear our faintest cry. She said, well, it's been a long time since I've sung this song. But I've been thinking about that, and that's very good. I looked up, and I've lost my definitions. Here are. I looked up famous to see, if that'd be a good thing if he could hear our famous cry. And the Google app, I don't know if it's Webster's or what it was, I just hit Google's become my best friend here lately. Famous was honored, remarkable, well-known, important, But the last one that he gave me was the best one of all, was recognized.
All right.
Sister Day, that means he recognized my cry.
Right, right.
He heard my famous cry. And I know he will answer by and by.
Yes, he
I was thinking, and when I was thinking about all that, he heard, we teach about and preach about, and John talks about the good shepherd and my sheep knows my voice. And I saw a thing the other day, I've heard it preached hundreds of times about the shepherd that left the 99 to go find the one. And it sounds really silly. He got 99 sheep right there to take care of, and he left for one. But it wasn't silly to that one. When I was one lost, Brother Richie, it wasn't silly when he left to come find me.
Right.
And I thought about Brother Joseph when I was thinking about this. To have a famous cry. I've heard him talk about going coon hunting, hearing them dogs bark. And he's listened to them enough that he knows which dog is which. And I'm sure this shepherd, when he realizes he's got one sheep missing, he's heard that famous cry. And nothing going to keep him from going and finding that one. And I'm so glad that one day God heard my famous cry. I'm so, because and my famous cries a lot of times was coming from in here, because I wasn't crying out. But those nights alone when Robin and the kids was at church and I was at the house by myself, there was some famous crying going on inside that I didn't know nothing about at the time. But God heard my cry. He recognized it's good to be famous. I used to, when we were doing the So Be It thing, I used to say, man, it'd be great to be famous. I'll drive up somewhere and see your name up here. It'd be great to be famous. But little did I know, I was famous. I don't have to be famous in the world's eyes. Although we did get a royalty check here a few months ago. We was kind of a big deal somewhere for a little while anyway. But he heard my famous, he recognized my voice. I cried unto God with my voice. And he knew who I was. I could care less about being remarkable or well known or important, but I want to be recognized by him.
That's right.
It makes no difference if the world recognizes me for anything other than being a follower of God. I saw a thing on Facebook the other day that said it's better to live the Scripture than it was quote the Scripture. And how many, and we've all seen people that can quote Scripture coming and going and live like a devil. But the Word tells me, him that knows, if he knows the Scripture, he knows to do good. If you know to do good, you do it not, it's a sin. So I'm glad one day I realized I need to do good. But more importantly, God recognized my voice. That's a big thing. Was it Cody used to joke around and say, y'all don't know, but I'm a pretty big deal. Well, the world don't know, but we're a pretty big deal. Yes. We're children of the Most High God. Yeah. And he tells us, if we ask it, believing, that he will do it for us. There's some stipulations there too. We like to tell that part of it. We like to tell, if I ask it and believe it, God's going to take care of it. Well, there's some other things goes along with it. Ask it and believe him. believe it, if you believe him, you're going to do what he says do. You're going to follow his directions. We have to become as a little child and believe it. I told someone this story the other day, and Brother Smooth told me that I need to make that into a sermon. And it kind of goes along with this hearing my cry. I was working on a heater at the house 3 or 4 weeks ago. I took it out and took it to the shop to get it worked on. And I got it back home, and I hooked it up. Of course, Cole was there with me, and he had his tools out. Papa Joe, let me help. I said, well, sure, you right over here and help me. And he had his little screwdrivers, and he was working and working. I got it all hooked up, and I started trying to light it back up, and it wouldn't light. And for those of you that know me, I don't have a long fuse when it comes to mechanical stuff that's supposed to work and don't. And it was fixing to get thrown across the yard somewhere. And Brother Cole walked up behind me. He said, Papa Joe, say it can work. I said, I looked at me and I said, what did you say? He said, say it again, son. He said, Papa Joe, say it can work. I said, it can work. And I hit the striker one last time. And it did work. My cry wasn't the famous cry he heard that afternoon. But we got to become as a little child. He believed in his heart. If we say it can work, it's going to work. And if God tells me it's going to work, then it's going to work. I'm so glad to know that I know his voice. The word says the sheep knows the shepherd's voice. But even more proud of that than that, I'm so proud that he knows my voice.
Amen.
Right.
I'd hate to wake up tomorrow calling on God and he didn't know who I was. Yeah, I've joked around with people. They say, get a chance to say a prayer for me. And I said, I did. I called your name and God said, who? I'd hate, Sister Melissa, I'd hate to wake up in the morning and start praying. And God said, who is this cat talking to me? I hadn't heard from him in a long, I don't know his voice. Let's make our cries famous. Y'all pray for me.
I was sitting there thinking, a story in the Bible that I believe it was the 7 sons of Sceva tried to cast a devil out of a person. And the devil jumped on them and tore them up. See, what they tried to cast him out. They said by Jesus Christ whom Paul preaches. And they said, Jesus we know. The devil said, Jesus we know. Paul we know. But who are you? I want to be famous enough that Satan knows who I am. Right? Huh? You ever thought about it that way? Praise God. Praise God. Somebody said, how can we do that? When we got Jesus in us. Right. So, listen, Satan knows it.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Because he knows that greater is he that is in you than he that's in the world.
Yeah.
Praise God. Praise God. You know, I don't care nothing about having my names in light. I don't care nothing about being famous worldwide. But I do want my name somewhere, right? And that's written in the Lamb's Book of Life.
Amen.
Praise God. Praise God. Let's all stand.